In this video, I am going to read John 10 and do a running commentary as I read through it. As we come to chapter 10, just by way of summary, Jesus gives the parable of the Good Samaritan. Here, the Lord clearly announces himself as the true shepherd in contrast to the false and the religious leaders at the time that he's in conflict with. He then asserts his deity and oneness with the Father, and the situation becomes so intense that Christ must withdraw from Jerusalem. So this is really a brief summary of chapter 10. I'm going to read it now and just sort of talk my way through it. Truly, truly, Jesus said, I say to you, he who does not enter by the door into the fold of the sheep, but climbs up some other way, he is a thief and a robber. But he who enters by the door is a shepherd of the sheep. To him the doorkeeper opens, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. There would often be a place where sheep would be kept, and different shepherds would bring their sheep. And the thought here is that the doorkeeper guarding the hole would open the door to a shepherd, and he would have a particular call, and the sheep would follow him. And this is what he's saying here. He gives the call, and his own do respond. And I think that is true today as well, that he continues to call. And those that respond become his sheep or show that they belong to him. So as we move on, it says, when he puts forth his own sheep, then he goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice, because they understand who he is and know his voice, they follow him. A stranger they simply will not follow, but will flee from him because they do not know the voice of strangers. And this is true with sheep. And I think really it's being applied now in a spiritual sense by Jesus, that those who follow him recognize him and know his voice. This figure of speech, Jesus spoke to them, but they did not understand what those things were which he had been saying to them. They were not grasping it, John tells us. So Jesus said to them again, truly, truly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. All who came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I'm the door that leads into the sheepfold, and my sheep respond to me, Jesus is saying. I am the door. If anyone enters through me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. So the way Jesus is applying this is that those who really are his sheep will hear his voice, and they will go in and go out of the sheepfold and find pasturage. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it more abundantly. And that's true all the way through time. Jesus has come to give life. And if one follows him, they can be assured that they have life and have it more abundantly. There are a lot of false shepherds that take people's money and other things, but they don't give life. And Jesus said, I'm the source of life, and I'm the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. He's willing to die for the sheep, which is what Jesus did. He who is a hired hand and not a shepherd, who is not the owner of the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees, and the wolf catches them or snatches them and scatters them. In other words, the hireling, the one who's just hired and is really not the true shepherd of the sheep, when he sees the wolf coming, he flees, and the wolf then destroys the sheep. The reason he flees, Jesus says, is because he is a hired hand and is not concerned about the sheep. But I am the good shepherd, and I know my own, and my own know me. I'm the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me. What a beautiful statement here, that he is the one who is going to be the good shepherd for anyone who believes. And he knows all true believers, and they become his sheep. Even as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. I know the Father, and he knows me, and I lay down my life. And he's talking, no doubt, about what would happen with the Jewish believers who were following him, his disciples, and believing in him. But then he goes on, I have other sheep, which are not of this fold. I must bring them also, and they will hear my voice, and they will become one flock with one shepherd. And I think Jesus is predicting not only Jewish believers as his disciples, but Gentile believers. That would be the other flock that will hear his voice, and there will be one flock then, and one shepherd. What a beautiful thought here. Jew and Gentile become one in Jesus Christ. For this reason, those who believe in him become part of his fold. For this reason, the Father loves me, because I lay down my life so that I may take it up again. Here is clearly predicting his death and resurrection. I lay down my life that I might take it up again. No one has taken it away from me, but I lay it down on my own initiative. I have authority to lay it down, and I have authority to take it up again. This commandment I received from the Father. In other words, Jesus is predicting his death and his resurrection here, and he's willingly going to Calvary, but also he has the authority to take his life up again, looking at the resurrection that would occur. So Jesus is making a tremendous prediction here about both his death, which he willingly lays down for the sheep, and his glorious resurrection. And we're told a division then occurred among the Jews. We're talking about the Jewish leaders here, I think, because of these words. Many of them were saying, he has a demon and is insane. Why do you listen to him? Why do you listen to Jesus? He has a demon and he's insane. Many were saying. And others were saying, these are not the sayings of one demon possessed. A demon cannot open the eyes of the blind, can he? In other words, there's a division. Some are saying he can't really be the Messiah, he has to be a demon with the claims he's making. Others were saying, wait a minute, can one who is demon possessed open the eyes of a blind man, or would even do it? And the answer, of course, is no. So Jesus then, at this point, will move on to assert his divinity or his deity. At that time, the Feast of Dedication took place at Jerusalem. It was winter, and Jesus was walking in the temple of the portico of Solomon. The Jews then gathered around him and were saying to him, how long will you keep us in suspense? If you are the Christ, tell us plainly. If you are the Messiah. Jesus answered them, I told you, and you did not believe. The works that I do in my Father's name, these testify of me. These show who I am. And this is found in the John's Gospel. Breaking bread for 5,000, walking on the water, all the things he's done. But you do not believe because you are not my sheep. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give eternal life to them, and they shall never perish, and no one will snatch them out of my hand. What a beautiful encouragement here. The sheep, the believers, will hear my voice, and I know them, and they know me, and they follow me. True believers in Jesus, he says, I know, and they will follow me. And I'll give to them eternal life. What a beautiful truth here. And they will never perish, and no one will snatch them out of my hand. That's a beautiful, beautiful encouragement of eternal security for those that believe. No one will snatch them out of my hand. My Father, who has given them to me, is greater than I, and no one is able to snatch them out of my Father's hand. I and the Father are one. In other words, not only will they not snatch them out of my hand, but my Father has given them to me, and no one is able to snatch them out of the Father's hand as well. And furthermore, I and my Father are one. And when he said that, showing the co-equality, the Jewish leaders and those that were following them picked up stones again to stone him. And then we'll go on and talk about further statements that Jesus makes in this great Gospel of John. The important thing is to make him our good shepherd by believing in him and knowing that when we believe in him, we have eternal life and eternal security, and nothing can ever take us out of his hand or his Father's hand.
Boy, that's good.